I feel good about the ultimate outcome. I think once we get talking about policy rather than personality, both at the presidential level and down ballot, we'll do fine in Texas. But the national media seems obsessed with the personalities.
Well, does the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett, Judge Barrett, impact your race at all, Senator Cornyn?
Absolutely, absolutely. Obviously, people will be reminded of the importance of the presidential election. President Trump is nominated. We've confirmed, I believe it's 218 federal judges, and including now 2 Supreme Court justices with a third nominee. I think that's a very helpful reminder about the importance of winning in November.
I think it is too. Now, I am on the record, and I wish you would nudge your colleague, Lindsey Graham, to get him up early so he'd come on the show and talk to me. You can tell Lindsey won't get up early. He'll send me
He's
text.
not a morning person.
Not a morning person, but he needs to be out here talking about Judge Barrett. Here's the deal. I think if you don't vote by the election, that the Republicans are on the ballot. Not you. I think you're safe in Texas, but some of the tighter races will get wiped out. That the base expects a vote. Will there be one? And Chairman Graham decided to start the hearings on the 13th instead of the 6th. His prerogative, I understand, but do you think we'll get that vote, Senator Cornyn?
I do. I think we'll be ready to take the nomination to the floor after we vote her out of committee on the 22nd of October.
And how long, you were the former whip, how long, once it goes to the floor, can Democrats delay a vote?
We would vote on the cloture on the motion to proceed on Monday, the following Monday, and then we would have 30 hours for post-cloture and then a final confirmation vote. We could do that by the following Wednesday.
Okay, well then I think everybody is safe, and I think the Republicans will hold the Senate. If it doesn't happen, do other people share my concern if the vote doesn't happen that Republicans lose?
Well, I think vote one, you disappoint a lot of people for no good reason, and secondly, I think after the election, things get even dicier. We know that our Democratic friends are not happy with us proceeding now. Can you imagine after the election? That just adds more uncertainty. And if there's one thing we don't need more of in this environment we're living in America today, it's more chaos and more uncertainty. So I think we need to get it done before the election.
And what's interesting is I'm not presuming anyone's vote. For example, your colleague, Senator Collins, I don't presume that she will vote for Amy Coney Barrett. But if she doesn't vote at all, I think she loses both ways. Whatever way she votes, it's a tough vote to take. But she's a tough lady, right? That's why she wins in Maine, is she's a tough lady.
Everybody knows and loves Susan Collins in Maine. Unfortunately, she has had about $50 million in negative TV ads run against her by the National Democratic Party. But she's a courageous person, as you saw with her vote on Brett Kavanaugh. And I trust her to make the right decision for her and her reelection because we need her. She's the only remaining Republican, I believe, in New England, and we got to have her back.
And I think she'll represent her state well, which is what she does. Now, let's play the opposite of courage. This is Kamala Harris last night on the Lawrence O'Donnell show. Senator, if you haven't seen it, sit down. Here we go.
If Judge Barrett is confirmed and the Democrats have control of the Senate next year and the White House and the House of Representatives, should the Supreme Court be expanded?
You know what, I think that, first of all, Joe's been very clear that he is going to pay attention to the fact, and I'm with him on this 1,000%, pay attention to the fact that right now, Lawrence, people are voting.
That was her answer, Senator Cornyn. What do you make of that?
I think it's pretty pathetic. They're trying. The reason why they're so upset about this vacancy and the nomination is because they view the Supreme Court as another legislative branch that should be making policy. If you can't win an election, if you can't win the vote in Congress, run to the Supreme Court. Let them put their thumb on the scale. Amy Coney Barrett's not going to do that. And she's going to interpret the Constitution and laws as written. She's not going to presume to be a policymaker from the bench, a legislator from the bench. So I think that's the one thing that disturbs Kamala Harris the most, and she's having a hard time explaining her position.
No, I have to ask you, as the only former Supreme Court member in the Senate, I believe I'm correct about that, right? You are the only former.
I think that's right.
All right, so you're a member of the Texas Supreme Court, and you're the only member of the highest court to sit in the Senate. When all of the clerks of a particular court, in Judge Barrett's case, 40 clerks on the Supreme Court during her year clerking for Scalia, one of them, Noah Rothman, steps forward, a professor at Harvard and a lefty, and says she was the smartest of the 40 Supreme Court clerks. Now, I clerked on the D.C. Circuit, which I think is pretty special, but I didn't make the cut for the Supremes. So if you're number one of the 40, what's that tell you, Judge, Senator and Justice Cornyn?
Well, I think that these are the people that know her best, and I think they have a lot of credibility and a lot of expertise when it comes to judging the credentials of somebody nominated for the Supreme Court. So good for him for stepping up.
Yeah, they refer to her as a generational talent. Now, that is a sports term that applies typically to LeBron James or Mike Trout or something like that. A generational talent for the Supreme Court would be something you would think left and right would welcome.
Well, you would think so. And this will be the lasting legacy of this Trump administration, is the impact he and the Republican majority in the Senate have had on the judiciary for the next 25, 30 years.
Now, Senator, I want to turn to the dark side. The AP this morning has a story by Michael Bessaker and Michelle R. Smith that has this headline, quote, Barrett tied to faith group ex-members say subjugates women. That is a nakedly anti-Catholic, anti-religious headline. And I blame the writers because they did not get it changed, even though they may not have picked it. What about this explosion of anti-Catholicism on Bill Maher and Elizabeth Bruning all over the web? What is going on here?
Well, it's pretty ugly, but it started back during her confirmation hearing when Senator Durbin asked her whether she was an Orthodox Catholic, and then Senator Feinstein said the dogma lives loud within you, suggesting she could not remain loyal to her oath as a judge, not to decide it based on her personal preference, but on the law and the Constitution. So this is pretty ugly, but I just think it's just the beginning. We saw what happened in the Brett Kavanaugh hearing. Nobody thought it could get any worse, but this might. Once people start imposing an unconstitutional religious test on public service and service on the Supreme Court, that's about as low as you can get.
It is unconstitutional, and it's going to happen. I personally have predicted the torpedo in the water will be launched. It's why I wasn't happy Chairman Graham waited a week. When she served at Notre Dame, she was on the appointments committee for many years. She must have been also, because all members of the faculty who are tenured on promotion and tenure, we are going to hear a grievance from someone who wasn't hired or someone who wasn't promoted, and they're going to blame Amy Coney Barrett. And it's going to come late. Will you reopen? I actually should ask, do you think Chairman Graham will refuse to reopen the hearings for late hits that will be delivered as they were on Justice Kavanaugh after the hearings close?
Well, as you know, Senator Feinstein sat on the letter from Dr. Ford until after the hearing basically closed. That was an extraordinary occurrence and reopening of the hearing. I hope that's not repeated here. I can't imagine a circumstance under which it would be, but, I continue to be shocked and surprised by some of the antics up here. But we're determined to give the judge a fair hearing, let the American people hear her answers to tough questions, and then vote. That's what our job is, and that's what we'll do, and I'm confident we'll do it before the election.
So, Senator Cornyn, again, we got to get Chairman Graham awake and on the air to ask him this. But on the first day, well, it's true. It's true. On the first day, if the chairman says, I want to say to my Democratic colleagues, if they got anything, they better get it in the record in the next 4 days, or we're not reopening it. Will that have any salutary effect on your colleagues from the left?
I would hope so. I think that sounds like a good idea, and I'll encourage that.
You're going to have to put it in writing for Lindsay. Honestly, you're going to have to. Okay, let me close by talking about tonight. A big debate. They have set the bar so low for your colleague, Joe Biden. I think he's going to come out dancing like Fred Astaire, kiss the president on the cheek, and waltz away. Honestly, I think he's going to be completely fine, and they've set the bar low. You know him at his best. How good is Joe Biden on a debate stage?
Well, he I think you're right. They did set the expectations so low that I'm sure he will exceed low expectations. And the president has set expectations for him very high. So I think that was sort of a tactical mistake. But, I think Joe is not as sharp as he once was. But I'm going to be watching just like everybody else to see how both of them perform. I think it's a big moment for the election.
And a last question, Senator. What is your website? I want people in Texas listening on San Antonio, Houston, Dallas to be able to go and find John Cornyn's reelection website.
It's pretty easy. It's johncornyn.com. Thanks, you.
Even the Steelers fans will remember that. johncornyn.com. Thank you, Senator.